Live. This is News Today. I am MFA Akosiaditi, and in the bulletin this afternoon, Adabraka, a central Accra suburb, paralyzed with floods over just 2 hours of rains. We have details as residents blame neglected drainage.
Let's not delay. It should be done rapidly and quickly so that living around will be comfortable.
Also in the news, anti-illegal mining campaigners condemn attack on journalists and officers of the Environmental Protection Authority in the Ashanti region. We have details of some journalists sustaining injuries after their vehicle was involved in an accident while retreating from the attack. Also, crisis in public hospitals as clinicians risk misdiagnosis and poorly treating ailment after losing 5-year medical data records of patients on electronic data management systems.
And we had to virtually tell the patient that, listen, we are unable to assess, so those of you who have ever come, you may have to go. And those who remember your medications, then we may have to now write your own medications.
Also, SSNIT reveals it is still looking for strategic investors for 3 of the 6 hotels rocked in public controversy after the pension manager's attempt to sell off 60% stake to a former cabinet minister.
Are you still in the business of looking for a strategic investor?
Yes, we are seeking for a strategic investor for La Palm, Mina Beach Resort, and Susia. However,
We'll tell you which of the hotels are up for a new deal, plus Deputy Finance Minister's assurance the deal will not go to any politically exposed persons. Stay with us for these and more. JoyNews, independent, fearless, and credible. We appreciate your company this afternoon. Our residents and business owners in Adabraka and nearby communities are demanding urgent attention after this morning's rains left gutters near overflow and floodwaters invading homes and shops. Many blame the situation on poor and ineffective drainage system that continue to worsen each rainy season. Now listen to some residents and traders share their frustration over the recurring floods and their impact on daily life.
A lot of people go out when it rains heavy. You see people started going out because the gutter was full. When it had come up a little bit or it had rained a little bit in addition, people would have just moved out to the roadside. You would have met people standing by the roadside and stuff because the rain has entered their gutter. Sorry, their room rather. So it has to do with we the individuals also, because if the government is doing 50% and the 50% left for us to do, we are not doing it. We are still going to go back to zero. So I'm going to plead every individual here that it's not only the government, we should also try to keep the environment clean.
If there could be at least a little expansion, that the gutter be redone well to connect with the bigger one so that the drainage wouldn't be overflooding, it will help. I'm asking that let's not delay. It should be done rapidly and quickly so that living around will be comfortable.
Government too can help by giving, or putting dustbins at every junction whereby we can put, rubbish in.
Main gutter na yema, nti yema na apushi aba, nti se pushi ba ekwa de aka no, echese wankasa we waste of means ebetumi akọ, nti ya na asesen de agugo tam na ekọ. Eto more than that anka. Untumi njina hampo se ujina se uboye ejuma. Ebe take it say 4 hours, 5 hours and so na akọ. Benedi akọ ntem.
My colleague Stephen Mensah was on ground and joins me with more. Steve, tell me, how bad was the situation when you visited the place? Steve, you can hear me, kindly unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
So for the areas we visited, that's the Adabraka area, for the airport area and some parts of Jowu. For Adabraka, the situation was quite dire. For the shop owners and the residents we spoke to, some were collecting water that had entered their rooms and their shops. For the airport area, earlier when the rain started, it had filled the streets. But however, upon our visit, the water on the street had subsided. And the traffic situation in Jowu, when we visited, had eased up as reports earlier were indicating that there was traffic building up in the area.
I see, Steve, but what's the situation currently?
Currently, the rain has subsided, I must say, in some parts of Adabraka. The situation is quite dire, as I said earlier. The residents are still collecting and trying to salvage what they can salvage from the flood water that entered their homes and their shops.
But as of the time that you were leaving, or as of the time you arrived, no government official was there, say the MC, say an assembly member or anything? Nothing at all?
No, not at the time we visited.
All right.
For at the time, we're complaining that they need government support to ensure that this recurring floods doesn't affect them or their livelihood.
Thank you so much, Steve, for bringing us an update from Adabraka following the heavy rain this morning. Now, away from that, let's bring you some mining stories. Anti-illegal mining campaigners, including the Eco-Conscious Citizens Group, have strongly condemned the attack on journalists and officers of the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, in the Ashanti region. Reports indicate that the convoy of the EPA team came under attack from a group of illegal miners at Dajini, a community near Obuasi. The assault reportedly forced the team, along with accompanying media personnel, to retreat from the area. However, while on their way back, the vehicle was involved in an accident at Afari, leaving several people injured. Coordinator of the Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awulat Sewa, described this incident as a major setback in the fight against illegal mining. She's calling for an immediate and thorough investigation to bring the perpetrators to justice and to ensure the safety of journalists and environmental officers working in such high-risk area. We'll engage Emmanuel Braikweku on this. Emmanuel, tell me, the injured journalists have been hospitalized at the Afari Hospital, with another critically injured in the Thai and also admitted to the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital. Give me an update on that.
MF, as you rightly mentioned, these journalists had joined the Environmental Protection Agency to clamp down on some illegal mining equipment that are being used. You know, earlier on Wednesday, the EPA had gone out with journalists to clamp down on these champagne machines or warehouses that fabricate these machines for illegal mining. And so there was a similar operation that was being conducted yesterday. And yesterday, this team of journalists from different media houses, we are talking about the multimedia group ourselves. We have three of our journalists in this incident. Also, we have Media General and also Channel 1 and City TV's also journalists also involved in this particular crash. Unfortunately, yesterday, they had gone for one of these exercises at one of the communities that's around Dajin. And when they were returning, they had intel that because they had gone there to destroy some fine machines and excavators of these illegal miners, and they had intel that the illegal miners had mounted some blockade on the road that they were supposed to use. In fact, when you are going to this community, you can either use the Obuasi Dunka road from Kumasi to that place, or you can either use the Bebiani area to go to that place. And so because they were returning and they had wanted to use the route they used earlier, that's from Kumasi, Obuasi to Dunka, and then the community. But when they had the intel, they had to resort to another route that is from Diaso, and then you go to Ayamfre, Diaso, and then Bebiani, and then you come to Kumasi in the Ashanti region. And whilst they were returning, they had almost reached Kumasi. And so the accident actually happened around Aferi, that is in the Achima Nwabieja district of the Ashanti region. They were returning from the place because of the attack. They didn't want to have any altercation with these illegal miners, so they had to resort to that route. And so when they were returning, that's when the unfortunate incident happened, where we had 5 of the journalists being in critical, sustaining varying degrees of injury. In fact, we had 2 of our journalists, multimedia journalists. One is a camera technician. He is Akwesi Abdomako. He unfortunately had a fracture to his thigh, and he's currently being admitted at the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital. And we understand that he has to undergo some surgery. And also one of our reporters, he is with Adum News, Joseph Obeng, and he also sustained some injury to the head. And in fact, our very own Nanaya Ojima also was part of the team of journalists there. We also have TV3's Ibrahim Abubakar, who also sustained some injuries as well. And also Channel 1's Doris Lonta also involved in that accident. In fact, as we speak now, all the 5 are still hospitalized, and with Akwesi Adabraka at Confanoche being prepared for surgery. In fact, with the other 4, they are still monitoring them so that in case there's anything they miss, they do not discharge them as soon as possible. So they are still under monitoring by the health workers at Aferi. So 4 of them are at Aferi, and then Akwesi Adabraka is currently at Confanoche. In fact, we've also had the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association in the Ashanti region, led by its chairperson, that's Kofi Edudumfe, and some members there visit these journalists who unfortunately were involved in this particular accident. And in fact, they have shared their solidarity messages, and they say that they are with them. And in fact, they stressed on the need for journalist protection whilst we are carrying out or discharging our duties as journalists. The need for us, the institutions that sometimes involve us in their works, protect us as journalists while we cover our discharge our duties. And so this has really been the situation on the ground, and in fact, that is currently what we have picked up so far with regards to this accident, MFA.
Great, Emmanuel. That's quite a detailed report. But quickly, though, have we heard anything about any arrest at all?
For now, we haven't had any official communications whatsoever regarding any arrest. And so, in case we have any details of that, we'll also share. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our love to our colleagues as well. Well, I've been joined by coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens Group, Awula Sewa. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, from an advocacy point of view, which you've always stood for, which you've always been doing, what does this incident really reveal about the growing risk faced by those enforcing environmental laws in illegal mining areas? And another case in point will be the attack on NIMES as well.
It's very difficult. I mean, I'm just so upset at what has happened. My heart goes out to everybody who was involved, the journalists who are putting their lives on the line to try and bring the situation to an end, or at least to inform us about what is going on. You know, we've been saying for a very long time that if we don't deal with this matter robustly, it's going to get out of hand. And it's for this reason that we ask for a targeted state of emergency. Just imagine illegal miners mounting roadblocks, forcing the team to use another route. This should not be happening. This should not be happening. But you see, there's also complicity. We have been going around saying, kind of excusing irresponsible mining, which is poisoning Ghanaians. Water is life. Without water, we'll all die. By arguments such as they need a livelihood. Nobody can poison other Ghanaians or decimate our forest reserves or remove the livelihood of other Ghanaians because they need a livelihood. So that argument needs to stop. Criminal activity is criminal activity, and we need to deal robustly with it before it gets out of hand. Look at the impunity going on. And it will continue to happen when we keep on making excuses for what is going on. And another lesson to be learned is that we need to do our recce, and we need to be able to call for reinforcement. I'm not quite understanding how the situation got the way it did and why the EPA team was not able to call for reinforcement.
Well, Awula, so thank you so much for joining us on the news, and we shall definitely be following this story as the EPA boss herself as well has been speaking. But away from that, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, which you know as SSNIT, has told the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament that it is currently on a search for a strategic investor for 3 of its hotels. The 3 hotels were part of 6 the trust put up for a 60% stake sale in 2024, which caused intense public criticism. After strong pushback from stakeholders, especially workers' union, SSNIT abandoned the move. Today, at the Public Accounts Committee, the new Director General, Kwesi Afrebaini, said 3 of the hotels, La Palm Royal Beach, Elmina Beach Resort, and Busia Beach Resort, are struggling to break even, hence the decision to get investors for them.
It's on the Golden Beach Hotels Limited. Your claim that it was part of the hotels earmarked for participation of a strategic investor. Are these hotels still struggling? I mean, what is the status of these hotels?
Honorable Chair, all 3 hotels are struggling.
The 3 hotels are struggling?
All 3.
Are you still in the business of looking for a strategic investor?
Yes, we are seeking for a strategic investor for La Palm, Mina Beach Resort and yeah. However, for SSNIT Guest House, Ridge Royal, and Labadi Beach Hotel, we do not intend to seek any strategic investors coming in. We believe that those 3 hotels should be allowed to run on their own and make profit. Labadi Beach Hotel, for instance, in 2024, made profits in excess of 80 million Ghana cedis. Thank you.
Can you confirm to this committee that the decision by SSNIT to give out these hotels was solely a decision by SSNIT and not... Mr. Chairman.
Well, the Deputy Finance Minister stepped in to provide some clarification on what you're about to hear. Take a listen. And I have James on. James, if you can hear me, give me an update on that.
Well, Amafa, before the Director General answered that question in the clip you just heard, the minister had attempted to step in to insist that the question is outside his jurisdiction or mandate, but the deputy chair of the committee insisted, and which forced him to give out the response. But the minister again stepped in to seek to clarify that having at the back of the mind what we experienced when this matter first came up about the involvement of a politically exposed person who was a member of cabinet as well. He said they are taking all of those into consideration as far as the search is concerned, and that the assurance is that they will not move in that direction when a final decision is taken to settle on a strategic investor for these 3 hotels in question.
Intends to look for a strategic investor. We would want to give assurance that any decision to involve a strategic investor will be carefully looked at and will be in the interest of SSNIT. We will not do that for any politically exposed person. SSNIT will take a decision that will be in the interest of SSNIT and for pensioners of this country. Thank you.
James, glad that I still have you with me. So SSNIT was also cited for some bad loans. And how much is involved, and have they recovered the money?
The amounts are in 2 currencies. The dollar version of it is about some $5.8 million given to 1 entity. And then there was over 1 million Ghana cedis part also given to some state institutions as well as private entities, including the STC as well as other entities. Out of these 6 institutions, SSNIT said 1 has paid the amount, which is around some 600,000 Ghana cedis. But the rest of the entities, including the Kumasi Abattoir, are yet to make some payment they are yet to recover the full amount. And the committee is insisting that they go and recover the full amount before they appear before the committee somewhere next year when the Auditor General's report is ready. They indicate that they are actually in talks with them. The Kumasi Abattoir, for instance, they said they have showed up some land they plan to sell in order to pay this amount. And so they are pursuing that vigorously. We hope that next year by this time, the $5.8 million as well as the over 1 million Ghana cedis should be retrieved from these entities, MFA.
Great. James, finally, who else is facing the committee today?
The Ministry of Government Communications, led by Phyllis Oposukwachi, is here with entities including the Graphic Communications Group as well as the state broadcaster GBC answering questions. The Graphic has been referred to the Attorney General for prosecution over some single sole sourcing issue as far as their servicing is concerned. It involves some $280,000 and so they'll be going to the AG for prosecution. They are still before the committee and will be monitoring to bring you all of the updates from today's sitting, MFA. Thank you so much.
James Aveji is our man at the Public Accounts Committee and will be bringing us updates in our subsequent bulletins. But away from that, President Mahama has revealed government's plans to soon roll out a pilot program to revive broken down small town water systems currently managed by the public sector. Under the initiative, selected private sector companies will be engaged to repair and operate these water systems, distribute water, and handle bill collection. He made the remarks after he cut the sword for the start of a 200 megawatt peak solar for industries solar park project. The initiative is set to become one of the largest solar installations in West Africa, with a target capacity of 1,000 megawatts peak by 2032.
To be said for injecting private sector efficiency into public utilities. And I gave an example before. Enclave Power buys bulk electricity from the power utilities and distributes it within the free zones enclave, and has a 99% collection rate of bills. And the lights are always on in the industrial enclave. And so the industries there have a high ratio of power, and they don't see blackouts the way other places do. And so there's something to be said for private sector participation in utilities, not only for electricity, but even for water. We're going to experiment a pilot where we have small town water systems that are broken down, that are publicly administered. And we're going to involve private sector companies to repair those small town water systems, distribute the water, and be responsible for the bill collection. After all, the PURC is the one that sets the tariffs. And so these companies are not going to be able to set tariffs that are above what our people can afford to pay. And so we're going to have a pilot both in the water sector, and we're also going to continue the efforts to inject private sector in the bill collection and the last point of service of power distribution to customers, so that we can bring efficiency in collecting revenues in order that we can pay the power generators who are providing the electricity, including the private independent power producers. And so this is something that my government is intent of going forward with.
Now, the president has also been speaking about plans for a new green digital city. He said the feasibility studies and design for the proposed new city will begin by the end of this year, adding that the Minister of Finance has already made budgetary provision to support the process. According to the president, the initiative is a 20-year project aimed at decongesting Accra. He explained that while Accra will remain the capital, the plan is to relocate some government agencies and key offices to a new city in order to ease the growing traffic congestion and urban pressure in the capital.
You must have heard me recently talk about a new green digital city, which we plan as a 20-year project to help decongest Accra. Accra will remain the capital, but we will move some of the government agencies and other critical offices out of Accra, into the new city, so that with the kind of gridlock that is beginning to happen in Accra would ease. This will be a new city that would attract investment, it will attract tourism, it will be a smart city, it will have a modern drainage system, it will have good sanitation, there will be no kiosks and containers in that city, and people will not be hawking by the roadside in that city. If you want to sell anything, you will sell in the market that is provided in the city.
Now, still at the presidency, President John Mahama, on behalf of Ghana, has donated relief items to victims of the ongoing war in Sudan, as well as those affected by Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica and Cuba.
As a tradition of solidarity and compassion, and so in addition to what he referred to with Guinea and Congo, we also extended assistance to Japan by shipping cocoa products to Japan when they had the tsunami at that time. And so there's another gesture. 3 countries are going to benefit: Jamaica, which is the hardest hit, and then Cuba, but also our colleagues in Sudan. Sudan is virtually becoming the forgotten war because of Ukraine and Gaza, it looks like the world's attention has shifted there. And so some of the atrocities, the genocide, and the humanitarian suffering that is taking place in Sudan is not something that belongs to the 21st century. And so we all witnessed recently Al-Fashir, when the RSF went in there. A lot of people were killed, a lot of people were displaced, and those people are in camps that are being run by the Red Cross. And so even though Ghana's contribution would not resolve the humanitarian suffering that is going on, we believe that if every country contributes its quota, we can help to alleviate, what is happening in these places.
And now on to health. Doctors at various public health facilities across the country are facing a difficult time in diagnosing and treating diseases as medical data records of patients dating as far back as 2020 have been lost following the shutdown of the Lightwave Health Information Management System. Government announced the introduction of a new electronic data system, the Ghana Health Information Management System, after it claimed contractors of the old data system failed in delivery of their mandate of mapping over 900 health facilities onto the platform, among other contractual breaches. Emmanuel Barkweko reports the 3-week shutdown of the system is frustrating the works of the health professionals, as many risk misdiagnosing and managing diseases poorly as they now resort to exercise books and other manual alternatives to enter medical records.
For at least 3 weeks now, health professionals across Ghana's public health facilities have had to bear the drudgery of manually entering data of patients. From resorting to folders and exercise books, the shutdown of the Lightwave Health Information Management System is presenting dire consequences to the health sector. Aside from the long winding queues witnessed at the hospitals as patients seek medical care, a stark reality of medical data loss is threatening quality healthcare delivery. Dr. Elliot Cranton-Tano is a nephrologist at the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. He highlights the challenges the situation is posing to his work.
And we had to virtually tell the patient that, listen, we are unable to assess, so those of you who have ever come, you may have to go. And those who remember your medications, then we may have to now write your own medications. Now the question is, for me as a nephrologist, whatever has happened to your kidney function, whether it's improving or getting worse, I will be able to tell if I'm able to see what your last lab result was. But now even if you present today and your creatinine is say 200, the question is, I cannot be hard on you because I don't know whether you have come from 300 to 200 or you have probably from 100 to 200, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So the difficulty is the fact that if you don't have the record, you will not even know what you are managing because you don't know the diagnosis. The diagnosis is not in our heads. This is on OPD basis. Let's come to admissions. It's even worse. On admission now, currently, we are writing in exercise books. In fact, when they brought the exercise book at first, some of us thought, okay, maybe it's just for a few days. And for some time, it's exercise books. Because technically, and everybody listening to this or watching this should bear in mind that it is your mother, it's your father, it's yourself and your data that is at risk. So there has to be a way that we will be able to get this data to be able to help the patient. Otherwise, our hands are tied.
Health Minister Kwabena Mintah-Kando announced plans by the government to introduce a new system, the Ghana Health Information System, after he found the contractors of the old system failed to deliver on their mandates. But these questions continue to linger on the minds of the health practitioners.
So now the question is, we have LIMS cards for these patients. Are we going to now get new cards for these ones? How do we link the new cards to the GIMS card and be able to ensure there's continuity of care? Why we have folded, and again, for me, it's disappointing that gone are the days when we were using folders. I think now the folders are becoming more reliable because now we're going back to the exercise book, which is like the folder, than when now we are using electronic medical records, which was supposed to be more reliable. That one day a company says, or maybe a government says, okay, now I don't want this old one again. And then, or a new one comes and says, okay, I also don't want GIMS because there was whatever I just like. Then what are we doing to ourselves as a country? And this medical record or data of our patients, it's sacrosanct. It's like so important. Without the data, we are useless. We cannot manage them.
The situation is also threatening data for medical research.
To make matters even worse, there are a lot of studies that are going on that requires this data. All right, so there are researchers that are more of retrospective data where we can go onto the system and we know it is there, so we can at least follow up a patient for 5 years or 3 years or 2 years. Now, where is the data? So a lot of grants or a lot of research that are relying on these data are going to suffer.
For the medical officers, they want an immediate restoration of the data system to better manage their patients. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
You're watching News Today. Please stay for some business update.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority under the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs has launched a revised manual for the preparation of spatial plans and zoning guidelines and planning standards to promote coordinated and sustainable spatial development across Ghana. Speaking on behalf of Pirate Letitia and the component manager of the program, emphasized the need for coordinated and transparent spatial planning.
Today's event marks not just the unveiling of two important documents, but the renewal of a national vision. One that recognizes land as the foundation of Ghana's social, economic, environmental, and sustainable development. One that reaffirms our collective responsibility to safeguard land as both a public good and a shared heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are all aware, Ghana, like many developing nations, faces increasing pressure on land, rapid urbanization, competing demands for housing, agriculture, industry, as well as the demand for natural resources has intensified the complexity of land management. In some areas, these pressures have led to disputes and tensions that undermine community harmony, economic productivity, and societal well-being. While issues of land governance and management are understandably sensitive, they remind us of the importance of truth.
Now, away from that, the Swiss government says it will deepen collaboration with the government of Ghana to support the country's creative art and tourism sectors. Swiss ambassador to Ghana, Togo, and Benin, Her Excellency Simon Giga, says that the partnership will help promote cultural exchange, professional training, and new economic opportunities for creatives. Speaking at the Swiss Ghana Jazz Experience 2025, the ambassador said initiatives like the Ghana Experience shows how music and art can strengthen bilateral relations and drive sustainable development.
You know, I mean, our partnership is multifaceted, and many things are, of course, government to government. You have a lot of private sector involvement, but this is like people-to-people contact, and I think it's extremely important for the mutual understanding, right? And when we can show through music that we can come together and create something beautiful. For me, as the ambassador of Switzerland to Ghana, it really means a lot. And I hope for our Ghanaian partners as well, you know, that we all, at the end of the day, you know, we are all people, we all love music, and we can gather here at the Swiss residence and, you know, and create something beautiful and new together. Yes, okay. Advice to government. You know, I'm not a government advisor, I'm just like an envoy of the Swiss government. But I do think that Ghana has absolutely immense potential when it comes to the creative arts, and music especially. And my experience here in Ghana has very much been shaped by the music. I'm in love with Ghanaian music. You have so many talented musicians out there. It's always a question, how much can government do, how much should government do? I think what government should do is create an enabling environment for all these creative talents to really grow and thrive.
That's all for business. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is sports.
Hi there, welcome to the sports segment now with me, Razak Musbao. It's now time for sports, and Otuado and his technical team are expected to release their squad by the end of this week ahead of Ghana's Asia Tour friendlies. Black Stars will face Japan on November 14 before taking on South Korea 4 days later. The matches form part of preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Communications Director of the Ghana FA, Henry Asante-Chum, has been speaking to Joy Sports.
We are done with meetings and all arrangements, but sometimes during this period a lot of things happen at the 11th hour, and that caused the delay of the squad release. So tentatively we are looking at the close of this week or the weekend to confirm who will be in the squad or the full composition or full complement of the team. Plan is that the advanced team will depart Accra on Friday for Japan, and then the rest of the technical team. And I don't know if there will be local players or not, but depending on the number of local players, they will also travel hopefully on Sunday for Japan, and then we'll be expecting the players after their respective matches from Tuesday. So this is the plan for now. We are hoping that we'll have at least 3 training sessions of the full team in Japan before we take on the Blue Samurai on the 14th. And then once we finish that game, we will travel to Korea for the second game.
So in terms of the games themselves, it's preparatory for the World Cup. Are we likely to see the regular players, or the coach will be testing a lot of moves?
As we speak, I don't know. I haven't seen who is in the team and who is not in the team, but I think that as much as possible, the coach would like to continue his rebuilding exercise by keeping a core of the team. It helps in team bonding, team building, consistency as well. And from now to June, it's quite a long time in football, but unfortunately we do not have too many games, to test ourselves, because after this window, the only official or formal international window will be next year March, and that's quite a long time. And then after that, we may not play again until the 2 weeks leading to the tournament. So as much as possible, you would like to keep the core of the team together. But like I said, I haven't seen the squad list, and I am not in the position to comment any further.
Now, meanwhile, former Hearts of Oak midfielder Ibrahim Salifu has earned his first call-up to the Benin national team, marking a major milestone in his football career. The 25-year-old, who currently features for FC Drita in Kosovo, has been named in Gnorro's squad for an upcoming international friendly against Burkina Faso, which will take place later this month. Salifu, who was born and raised in Ghana, has chosen to represent for Benin national team at the senior level. The talented playmaker first rose to prominence in the Ghana Premier League with Techiman 11 Wonders, where he impressed performance caught the attention of Heart of Oak. He joined the Phobians in 2021 and quickly became a key figure, helping them secure both the Ghana Premier League title and the FA Cup that season. Now, since moving to Europe, Salifu has continued to shine with FC Drita, contributing significantly to the club's league title success in Kosovo. He's expected to join Benin at the 2025 African Cup of Nations, beginning from Group D, where they will face DR Congo, Senegal, and Botswana in the group phase. Well, that's all we have for you. But Sunday, Kotoko and Heart of Oak will be in action at the Accra Sports Stadium, and there will be live commentary on Joy 99.7 FM.
Today, and quickly before Shola brings you showbiz, nearly 50,000 female condoms procured by the National AIDS Control Program have expired due to low public demand. It sets back in Ghana's fight against HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. Health officials cite cultural attitudes and misconceptions that discourage women from using them, even as new HIV infections rose to more than 15,000 last year. Ghana now has over 334,000 people living with HIV, prompted renewed calls for stronger education and easier access to safer sex options. And joining me via Zoom this afternoon is Emmanuel Teviu, Deputy Director of Public Health, Ghana Health Service. Thank you so much for staying all through to talk to us. We're unable to talk a lot, but we'll push you to our subsequent bulletins. But specifically, what strategies is the program implementing to increase public awareness and acceptance of female condoms, especially among women?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, as a program, we are concerned with the low patronage of female condoms. And so we'll continue to in collaboration with our partners and stakeholders, carry out awareness creation, training of health workers in the communities on the importance of using the female condom, and also empowering communities. We need to engage the community leaders because of the cultural and social barriers, chiefs, religious leaders, political leaders, to whip up the interest and then to also demystify the perception that female condom is not safe, it's not comfortable to use. The use of it means that the women are more promiscuous, and also to empower the women to have a right and a say in their sexuality and health. I think these are things that we need to do, and to partner with media bodies like Joy to help us educate the public on the importance of the female condom.
Emmanuel, I really would love to have a longer conversation with you, but kindly attend upon to us around 3 p.m. on the pulse for a much longer conversation on this particular important topic that affects women. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you. Thank you.
Up next, Shola, Showbiz.
Right, now for Showbiz, let's get into our stories. It was a day of celebration, gratitude and inspiration at Services Primary and JHS in Burma Camp, home of Ghana's 2025 G-Step Champions team, Technocrats Innoware. Now, months after the national victory, the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize G-Step team returned to the school for a homecoming visit to honor the young innovators and appreciate their school for nurturing their talent. Take a look at this.
The visit to Services Primary and JHS in Burma Camp, dubbed Homecoming, was to thank the school for supporting the winning team. The G-Step team presented learning materials to acknowledge the school for their efforts. Founder of G-Step, Constance Ajeman, said she was proud to see young people using innovation to solve real problems in their communities. She also announced the inclusion of Volta region in next year's challenge.
The fact that the teams felt more connected and bonded this year was one of the key things for me, and the number of ideas, the sophistication of the ideas. In 2026 for G-Step, we are first of all bringing on board a new region, the Volta region. We're excited to keep expanding the reach. We want to be able to go national, so we want to be able to make sure that every junior high school student has an opportunity to participate in G-Step.
Program Manager Karen Beecham described the 2025 edition as one of the best yet. According to her, the team is introducing new training in STEM, entrepreneurship and software for the teams participating in the 2026 competition.
We are coming up with different ways to engage the teams. We are coming up with different ways to help you build very essential skills, 21st century skills. We're looking at soft skills, we're looking at STEM skills, we're looking at entrepreneurship. And these skills have become very important in the world that we find ourselves in. So for us at G-Step, it's very important that the young ones coming up now are engaged in a way that helps them build those skills. Education Director for Ladade Kotopon, Habiba Kotoma, noted that limited resources make it hard for some schools to join. However, GES is ready and is working towards providing resources to enable more schools to participate in the competition.
All GES education directors are always there to support their participants. The challenge we are having is the resource mobilization. So those of us in Ladade Kotopon, we are trying to move out of GES circle and touch base with our municipal assembly.
For Team Technocrafts Innerwear, the visit was emotional. They thanked the team for the opportunity and reviewed how this initiative has changed their lives.
Throughout the whole thing, my team and I trained a lot, helped me to be able to socialize with other people, and also helped me in my programming and my coding skills. At first, I had nothing. I knew nothing about coding and programming, but I learned a lot from G-Step.
I think the laptop can really help in our programming skills, the assets and the rest. We were just learning nitrogen cycle in class, so it can really help in our day-to-day activities in science in class.
From classroom to national stage, these young innovators are proving that with right support, Ghana's next big ideas can start in school.
Well, it was a night of science, suspense, and soaring emotions at the National Theatre, the grand finale of 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz. Cape Coast. It happened in Cape Coast. Now, Infantipim School proved once again that lightning can strike twice, defending their crown with 56 points, leaving St. Augustine's College sailing with 43 and Opokuwari School with 39. The chants, the cheers, and the battle of brains kept the crowd on edge till the very last riddle. For the boys from Infantipim, it was history made, a back-to-back win that sent their supporters into wild celebrations. But for the other two schools, the night ended differently. What began with song and confidence slowly gave way to stunned silence and quiet walkout. From jubilation to early exits, this is how triumph and heartbreak shared the spotlight.
Accepted defeat.
Oh, so soon?
It's not soon. We are the fourth round. Only the last one. We cannot get 20 points from that round. So there's no way we can win the trophy.
So you've accepted defeat?
Yes. Not yet.
Oh, you are saying not yet?
We are not yet. We are ready.
It was quite a sad one. Do you know that the OWAS boys, after like the third round, they were just clearing the auditorium?
They did well for the third round. Oh my God. Well, Shala, that's it for Showbiz, and that is it for the news. Do log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. I'm MFA Akosia Adeti. Thank you for watching. Oh dear.